in care centers.
Groundbreaking for a brand new fire operations center. Hear from fire officials as to what this season may look like.
Plus, internet for
Live at 5, I'm Ladd Egan.
Ladd, thank you. Record snow and water runoff has wildland firefighters gearing up right now for what could be a very, very busy season. News specialist Dan Rascone joins us now live. And Dan, a lot of greenery, a lot of tall brush out there.
Yeah, it really is. You come up to the mountains, boy, this is what you see. A lot of greenery here, and this is why. Take a look at that river, still raging here. This is the Big Cottonwood River. And you know what happens here, of course, it's eventually going to start to dry off. These will start to turn yellow and get dry, and that's when firefighters get a little worried there. You know, 2 Lone Peak hotshot crews with the State Forestry of Fire were on hand today to celebrate their groundbreaking of a new state-of-the-art fire operations center. These are the men and women who will be called to the front lines if wildfires do break out. The record moisture we've seen has provided some amazing growth in vegetation. Depending on how the weather goes, firefighters are predicting much of that grass could start turning yellow by late July into August.
And all that grass is going to dry out one of these days, and when it does, it's going to be off to the races. And we're not anticipating a huge fire season in the high elevations, but the low elevation, or what we call a desert year, is going to be significant.
But fire crews say they are ready for what may come. As part of that preparation, some crews were up Big Cottonwood Canyon today, clearing out the dry trees and the brush. We'll have more on that coming up at 6:30. Also, it's the big weekend coming up here, July 4th weekend. A lot of people heading out into the mountains. We'll have more about that as far as fire safety coming up at 6:30. I'm Dan Rascone, live at 5.
All right, Dan, we'll see you in just a bit. An intense spring runoff finally up.
First, though, the groundbreaking for a brand new fire operations center is underway. Hear from Utah fire officials about what this season may look like. It's coming up when KSL-5 News at 6 returns.
You're watching KSL News at 6.
Fire danger is top of mind for state wildfire crews as temperatures rise and all that green turns to brown.
News specialist Dan Rascone shows us what firefighters are so concerned about right now. Dan?
Yes, Mike and Deanie, this is what has fire crews so worried right now. All the tall trees and brush that has come as a result of the heavy snowfall that we received and all that water there. Well, this will eventually, of course, dry out. And when it does, that's when things can turn quickly.
There is a great grass crop out there.
Extraordinary growth after Mother Nature provided us with record-breaking moisture, making for some beautiful and scenic green mountainsides. But eventually, it will change.
And all that grass is going to dry out one of these days, and when it does, it's going to be off to the races.
That's what has State Forestry fire crews so worried.
If you look at the grass crop, it's knee-high, and once that cures and dries out, it is a pretty big concern that if we have some starts, that the fires can take off and cover some ground pretty quick.
The Lone Peak hotshot crews were on hand today to celebrate the groundbreaking of a new state-of-the-art fire operations center for the State Forestry of Fire. They have been in their old facility for 45 years and say this new place, which will be finished next year, will only make them better prepared to respond and fight wildfires.
What it's going to provide is a better coordinated response for our resources throughout the state, because we're spread in 2 different locations.
Right now, there is no telling
It's tough to predict. It's all based on kind of weather.
what kind of fire season it will be. But with so much growth, it could turn dangerous quickly.
They're telling us by the end of July into August, that's going to dry out and ready for burning.
Crews have been busy up Big Cottonwood Canyon, taking out some of the dead vegetation, all in preparation for what's to come. And as we head into July 4th weekend, with 90-degree temperatures and no moisture predicted, firefighters say play it smart.
Anytime you leave a municipality and you're shooting fireworks around dry grass, you know there's going to be problems.
If you do plan to head up into the mountains this July 4th weekend, make sure you're aware of the raging rivers there. They're moving very quickly. Just like the flooding season, predicting that was difficult. Well, predicting the fire season, also very difficult. It depends on how Mother Nature plays it all out. I'm Dan Rascone for KSL 5 News.
Thanks, Dan. And it depends on how careful we all are. Thank you. The intense spring runoff has